Before the show starts, drop a comment below with where you're watching from. Then sit back, relax, and get ready for some chilling stories. They said it was just a prank, just a joke. But when the police showed up at my dorm with a warrant, no one was laughing anymore. I wasn't the kind of guy people usually noticed. I kept my head down, did my work, and went home. My idea of a good time was a Friday night gaming session or debugging my side projects. I was a second-year computer science student, not exactly party material. I knew that. I was fine with it. Apparently, some people weren't. It started on April 1st, April Fools. I remember the exact moment. 7:26 a.m. I was asleep when there was a loud knock at my dorm door. Not a normal knock. A heavy, deliberate pounding that made my heart jump. I got up, still groggy, thinking maybe it was maintenance or something dumb. But when I opened the door, I wasn't expecting that. 2 officers. Real uniforms. Badges. One had a clipboard. The other had his hand resting on his belt, like he was ready for something. Zachary Lane? Oh yeah. We have a warrant to search your dorm. Step aside, please. I froze. Wait, what? We need you to remain calm. This won't take long. It felt like a fever dream. They came in, went straight to my desk, took my laptop, 2 external hard drives, my phone, and even a USB I hadn't touched in months. I asked what this was about. They didn't answer. One of them said, "You'll have to speak with campus security and the university admin." They left. Just like that. I stood there in my boxers, door open, neighbors peeking out into the hallway, and no clue what the hell had just happened. An hour later, I was called into the dean's office. There was a representative from campus security, someone from student affairs, and the dean himself. No one made eye contact. They said there had been a tip, that I was allegedly in possession of inappropriate digital content, specifically illegal images. They didn't use the words, but I understood. I felt my whole body go cold. I didn't even know what to say. I stammered something like, "That's not true, I swear. I don't know where this is coming from." They said an anonymous report had come through their campus hotline. Then another one, supposedly from a fellow student. They were obligated to investigate. I told them to check everything. My laptop, my drives, anything. I had nothing to hide. But that didn't matter. For the next 48 hours, I was suspended pending investigation. My professors were notified. I was advised not to speak with anyone on campus until the situation was clarified. Word spread. Fast. By the next day, people were looking at me differently. Some avoided me. Others whispered. I even saw someone post a vague tweet that said, "Crazy what people are hiding behind a screen." And all I could think was, who did this to me? I thought maybe it was some misunderstanding. Maybe someone hacked my stuff. Maybe I clicked on something without knowing. My mind was spinning. But then 2 nights later, I found out the truth. 2 nights later, I got a message. It was anonymous. A temporary email. No subject line. Just a single sentence. It was just a prank. Chill. Attached was a screenshot, a Discord chat. 4 names. Some of them I recognized. Guys from my networking class. People I'd said maybe 10 words to in passing. In the screenshot, one of them, Ian I think, was writing, "Bet you $5 he cries when the cops show up." Another said, "Dude, we should have waited until he was in class LMAO." They were laughing, bragging. One even said, "Bro, this is gonna make him famous." I stared at the screen for a long time. They'd made the whole thing up. They used a tech spoofing service to send anonymous tips to the campus safety hotline, saying I had illegal material on my laptop. They worded it just convincingly enough to trigger a mandatory report to police. It was all part of a group prank they'd been planning since March. Apparently, I was chosen because I looked like the kind of guy who had something to hide. That's how they phrased it, like it was a costume party, like I was just playing a role. I went straight to campus administration with the message. I gave them the screenshot, printed copies, even tried to trace the burner email. They took it seriously, at least, eventually. The police cleared me. There was no illegal content. No gray area. My drives were clean. My phone was clean. But the damage was done. Word doesn't just go away in places like college. People still gave me weird looks. Some didn't believe the truth. Others just didn't care. Ian and the others were called in. They admitted it, kind of said it got out of hand. Said they didn't mean for it to get so serious. One of them actually said, "We just thought it'd be funny." I ended up leaving the university a month later. I couldn't take it anymore. The whispers, the tension, the constant double takes. Every time someone looked at me for a second too long, I wondered if they'd heard the story, the wrong version of it. I transferred schools, deleted my social media, started over. Ian and the others, they were expelled. But that was it. No charges, no record, just a prank. That's how they described it in the end. But to me, it felt like a slow, controlled burn, a joke I was never in on. And the punchline was my life falling apart. They told me someone I loved was in danger, that I had to leave the party immediately. I believed them, but once I got outside, something wasn't right. It was an April Fool's party, just some dumb college thing, drinks, music, themed decorations, people pretending to propose or announce fake pregnancies for laughs. I wasn't planning to go at first, but my roommate convinced me. "Come on," she said. "We'll stay an hour, laugh at some bad costumes, and leave." Sounded simple enough. The party was in this big rental house a few blocks off campus. Packed. Loud. People everywhere. I stuck with my roommate and her friends at first, just talking and sipping from a red Solo cup like everyone else. Around 11 p.m., I went to the kitchen to grab water, and that's when Chloe, one of the girls I sort of knew, came rushing in. Her face was pale, like something serious had happened. "Lindsay," she said, grabbing my wrist. "You need to come outside. It's your brother." My heart stopped. "What? What about him?" "There was an accident," she said. "He called one of the guys here, freaked out, said he needed to reach you, but your phone wasn't working. There's a cop outside waiting. He needs to talk to you." I didn't think. I didn't ask questions. I just ran. My brother had been dealing with anxiety and a recent breakup. The idea of him hurt, of him needing me, flipped something in my brain. I bolted through the side door, past the backyard, into the small alley that led to the back parking lot. It was dark out. A few cars were parked under a dim security light that flickered now and then. No cop car, no sirens, just silence. And then I saw it. A silver sedan with its hazard lights on. Standing beside it was a man, middle-aged, wearing a dark hoodie and jeans. He wasn't in uniform, but he looked at me and said, "Lindsay?" I stopped cold. "Yeah, I'm here to talk to you. About your brother." The way he said it didn't feel right. His tone was flat. No urgency. No concern. He gestured toward the car. "Come here. It'll only take a second." I took one step back. "Who are you with?" I asked. He didn't answer. Just took one step forward. That was enough. I turned and ran, full sprint, back through the alley and around to the front of the house. I shoved the door open, heart pounding, nearly knocking over a couple near the entryway. Chloe was right there, laughing. "What happened?" she asked, like she didn't have a clue. "You said there was a cop," I shouted. Her smile faded. "Wait, you actually went out there?" I froze. Then she started laughing again. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It was a joke. April Fools, remember?" I couldn't speak. Everyone around us had started laughing too. Some looked confused, others were filming. Chloe kept trying to hug me, saying stuff like, "It was harmless, I swear, and we thought you'd come right back in." But I couldn't laugh. I couldn't even breathe right. I told her what happened, that there was a man out there, that he said my name, that he told me he was there about my brother. Her smile fell instantly. "Wait, what?" I repeated myself, slower this time. I told her about the car, the man, the way he looked at me, how he tried to get me closer, how he knew my name. Her face went pale. A few of the others stopped laughing. Someone said, "That wasn't part of it, right?" No one answered. A couple of the guys ran outside to check the parking lot, but the car was gone. Totally gone. And that's when everyone started realizing it. They hadn't pranked me. Not like that. Chloe had made up the story about my brother. Yes, that part was the joke. But everything after that, the man, the car, the way he knew me, that wasn't part of the plan. That was real. and I had walked straight into it. Someone called campus security. They came, took a statement, walked around the neighborhood. I filed a police report later that night. I described the car, the man, everything I remembered, which unfortunately wasn't much. No cameras in that alley. No way to trace him. A week later, I got a DM from a girl at a nearby college. She said she saw my name on a community post about the incident. She had her own story. Same car, same man, same tactic. Only in her case, he told her mom had been in an accident. She got close. He tried to grab her. She screamed and got away. Police never caught him. They think he was watching the party. Saw the chaos. Saw a window of opportunity when I came out alone. To this day, I don't know what would have happened if I had gotten closer. If I had hesitated. If I had believed him for just a few seconds longer. It started with a lie. A dumb prank. But the real danger was waiting outside, quiet, patient, and ready to take full advantage of the joke. They told me it was just a prank. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, I don't think they ever wanted me to survive. This happened during my first semester of college. I was still adjusting to everything, being away from home, sharing space with strangers, trying to keep my grades up while pretending I actually enjoyed dorm life. I lived in a small co-ed housing unit off campus with 5 other students. We weren't exactly close, but we got along fine. And then came April Fools. I remember waking up that morning to someone yelling, "It begins," down the hallway. I figured it'd be stupid stuff. Plastic wrap on toilets, maybe food coloring in the milk, that kind of thing. One of the guys, Trevor, was obsessed with prank culture. He followed all those YouTube channels where they fake breakups and chase each other with tasers. He was constantly pushing boundaries. Always the type to say, "It's just a joke, relax." I ignored it. Went about my day. That night, I took a long shower. It had been a rough day, and I needed the alone time. I always used the small bathroom at the end of the hall, the one with the old-school sliding lock and weak fan. I brought my phone in with me, music playing low through the speaker. About 10 minutes in, the lights flickered. I froze, then laughed a little. Okay, here we go, I thought. April Fool's crap. Then I heard voices. Whispering. Giggles. Footsteps. Followed by the distinct click of the lock being jammed from the outside. "Guys," I called out. No answer. "Come on." "Really?" Still nothing. I tried the door. It was stuck, like someone had wedged something against it. Not cool. I shut off the water, wrapped myself in a towel, and went to the door again. "Seriously, let me out." Then I smelled it. Something sharp. Metallic. Not like steam. Not like shampoo. It was faint at first, then stronger. Almost like gas? I stepped back, looked around. The fan wasn't working anymore. The air felt heavy. "Hello?" I shouted. Still no answer. I covered my mouth with my towel and banged on the door with my fist. My head started spinning. My skin felt cold, like the heat had been sucked out of the room. I didn't know what they were doing. If they had set off a smoke bomb or dry ice or what. But it didn't feel like a prank anymore. My heart was pounding. I dropped to my knees and tried to push the bottom of the door, but it wouldn't budge. I don't know how long I was in there before I snapped. I threw my shoulder into the door again and again until the wood cracked, just enough to wiggle the lock. I burst out into the hallway, dizzy, dripping, barely able to breathe. And that's the last thing I remember. I woke up in the hospital. My head was pounding. My chest hurt. There was an oxygen tube in my nose, and a dull ache in my arm from where the floor was taped down. For a few seconds, I didn't even remember what happened. Then it all came rushing back, the bathroom, the door, the smell. My roommate, Dana, was sitting beside the bed. Her face was pale, and she looked like she hadn't slept. "You passed out," she said softly. "Collapsed in the hallway. You weren't breathing right. They had to give you oxygen right there before the ambulance showed up." I asked about the others. She hesitated. They said it was a prank, something with dry ice. Trevor swears he didn't mean to hurt anyone, that it was just for the reaction. I didn't respond. I just stared at the ceiling. It didn't feel like dry ice. A day later, I was discharged. The doctor said I had symptoms consistent with gas exposure. Not CO2 from dry ice, but natural gas. That someone may have tampered with the heater vent system in the bathroom. That's when things got serious. The school opened an investigation. The fire department inspected the house. Turns out, someone had messed with the portable water heater, twisted a connection, jammed the valve open slightly, redirected it toward the fan vent. It wasn't a random malfunction. Someone did it. When the others were questioned, Trevor doubled down. He said it was part of a fake emergency drill, that he wanted to simulate a scare. He claimed the gas part wasn't real, that I probably just panicked. But the inspectors disagreed. The exposure level in that room could have killed me if I'd stayed inside just a few minutes longer. No one confessed. No one took responsibility. And the part that still haunts me? The look on Trevor's face when I saw him a week later. The way he smirked like he'd gotten away with something. He transferred 2 weeks after that. The investigation was dropped for lack of evidence. I finished the semester from home. I still don't know if it was a prank that went too far, or something else. Something worse. Something intentional. But I do know this. When someone says, it was just a joke, I listen a lot more closely than I used to.